Hi, welcome to my next video, which for a little bit of a change is outside with some real trees instead of the ones usually behind me in my office. And I'm here to talk about something not entirely Mace Energy Method related, although kind of, because I came across this really cool concept recently about the easy hard paradox, as that guy called it. I kind of like this, the switch into it being the easy hard game, and I'll give you a little bit of background and then I'll tell you where I see it fitting within my world and with the Mace Energy Method. So basically I was in a marketing course, just a mini marketing course. I've been gathering all sorts of little ideas and possibilities and options from all sorts of different places recently, looking for ways that feel good and right for me. And yeah, this guy mentioned this easy hard paradox and saying how when something starts out being easy, then it usually gets hard later, but when it starts out being hard, then it gets easier later. So his example was in the context of marketing, that when people start putting attention on who they want to serve and what the specific angle is that's really going to be most useful for them to connect with that and go, yes, that's for me. He was saying, like, that requires work to begin with. You need to invest time, you need to invest energy, you need to invest perhaps some time understanding clients, some market research, some creating of ideas, sharing those ideas with others, potentially getting told they're rubbish, and then readjusting and changing it again. So it requires work at the beginning. It's hard at the beginning, but then once you've got that clarity, then it starts to get easy. Then it starts to roll and just be the way you do things. It's the kind of messaging you just then use, so that you have that shift from the hard to the easy. And that was the main way he talked about it, in that direction. But then it just really caught my attention as an idea, and I was like, well, oh my goodness, that's everywhere. And it goes the opposite way as well. So some examples of the hard to easy are like, his example is basically, we're learning a new thing, we're learning a new skill. Things, when we're learning something new, it's usually hard in the beginning and then gets easier. Tying your shoelaces when you were, whatever age we do that, 2 years old, 3 years old, 4 years old, hard to begin with, then gets easier once you've nailed it. Yeah, 2-year-olds don't tie their own shoelaces, do they? I'm thinking back to my own kids when they learned to do that. I'm pretty sure they weren't too. Anyway, whatever age you learn to do that, you first of all find it hard, it gets frustrating, and then it gets easy and you don't even think about it. In fact, I was noticing my son the other day, he's so tall that when he sits down on the stairs to tie his shoes, he can't see his shoelaces because his knee's in the way, and yet he can still do it because it's so easy now, he can do it without looking. So it was a great example for me of this, how things shift from being hard to easy. We also heard it in the context of when my kids had some time in a local snow dome, and they were deciding between skiing or snowboarding. And one of the teachers had told them, well, so, I'm going to get this the right way around, so skiing starts off, it's quite easy to get going, but then it gets harder to master. And snowboarding is the opposite, apparently, where it's harder to get going, but then once you've got going, then it gets easier to master. So this hard, easy thing just like plays out everywhere. And so then I did start to think about it in the context of the Mace method, because that is most of how I spend my time these days. And I thought about it in the fact that it's easy in that the entry point is so easy to recognize. All you need to know is there's something you don't like and that you want it to change. Like, how easy is that? When I'm talking to people on calls, the minute I say that, I can see that already their attention has gone onto them noticing, oh yeah, there's this and there's this and there's this. Like, instantly, they know the stuff. We know the stuff. We know what's a problem for us in our life. We don't have to go dredging or searching or analysing. It's right there. We know it exactly right there and then. And so then I was thinking, well, then where does the hard come in? if this easy hard thing plays out everywhere, at what point does it switch to hard? And I thought one point it could switch to hard after that is if somebody feels fear or resistance to coming for their session. So having made the decision, because it's so obvious, well, yeah, I definitely don't like this, I definitely want that to change, it can then get hard as the day approaches. So people sometimes come saying they feel nervous and excited. It's taken a level of courage for them to actually show up, because they can feel that it's what they want, and yet there's also a little bit of them that's going, oh my God, what am I about to do? So that could be a hard shift for somebody. But if not that, then it's potential for somebody to find the process itself hard. And that can show up in two ways. It can just be from the simple fact that you are working in those sessions. I am not doing the discreating of those negative identities for you. You are doing that work for yourself. I'm guiding you, facilitating you. I am taking you step by step through the process because I know the process and I know the questions to ask you and I know how to help you if or when you get stuck. But you are doing the work. You are doing that work for yourself. You are clearing this stuff out of your world for yourself. And there are two parts to that process. One involves feeling this stuff, feeling the negativity that keeps causing you problems, not for very long, normally not even 30 seconds, sometimes maybe 30 seconds, maybe a minute. It's really not very long, but you are feeling it. And for some people that might feel hard. For others, what comes next is involves mental images. And for some people that can sometimes feel hard. So there are a number of places where hard work does definitely show up because you are doing the work for yourself in the session. And there are other ways that it could feel hard because there's some layer on top of that. There's some analysis happening, or there's some figuring out happening that's slowing the process down and making it harder than it needs to be. And then, how brilliant that the easy then comes back in again. Because once that negative identity is discreated from your world, then you're back in the feeling of your being. And the feeling of your being is easy, effortless, light, obvious, loving, compassionate, understanding, curious. All the stuff that feels easy because it's who we naturally are. It's why we all know that's how we want to feel. On the back of any coaching, any training, any experience, we all know we want to feel that feeling of ease and effortless and lightness because we know that's our nature. And so cool that this process actually follows this easy, hard, easy, hard. So the easiness, is that a word? The ease, let's go with that, the ease, the simplicity of there's something I don't like and I want it to change. Then the hard, that you're doing the work in the session. You are the one doing the work in the session to discreate these negative identities out of your universe. I am guiding you through the whole thing. I'm facilitating you through the whole thing. I have totally got you with the process, and you are doing that work for yourself. It can feel like hard work. You're focused, you're engaged, your attention's on the process. It's not like a sit back in a nice meditative state and just have me do something to you. You are actively engaged and doing work. It's the hard part of the process. You're doing the work in the process, in the session. Then it gets easy again because you're back in the feeling of your being. You're back in that natural, effortless, that ease, that simplicity, that obviousness. And that's how you move back into life. And so it continues feeling easy because you also then don't have to be doing anything after the session in terms of practices or habits or anything special or fancy to integrate what you've done. The work is done. You're back in easy, effortless, you're off. And then there's a potential for hard to show up again. And now that could be hard in just that you are now challenging yourself more, you're going for more, you're stretching yourself, you're taking yourself to the next level. And that can come with a feeling of hard. You might be doing hard work. You might be stretching yourself. You might be stepping outside of your comfort zone. That could feel like you're pushing a boundary. That could feel hard. But hard doesn't have to feel negative. Hard doesn't have to feel like it drags you down or creates reaction or resistance. So naturally that hard work can follow that feeling of ease, because now you have even more capacity to step into that and move towards that which perhaps you've been avoiding or procrastinating on. And if anything does feel negative, like it's dragging you down, then that's the next step into more Mace Energy Method sessions, so that you keep going deeper and deeper and deeper into ease, the ease of who you really are, which puts you in a stronger and stronger and stronger position to deal with the hard, the challenges, the opportunities, the next level, the next step of expansion, which can feel hard. But with the knowing of the effortlessness of who you are, the hard keeps getting easier and easier. And anything that's negative stands out more and more and more. So a little bit there, this easy hard game that applies to all of life. Check it out for yourself. You'll see how it plays out everywhere with everything, from the smallest thing to the whole scale of your life as a whole. And consider it there in the context of the Mace Method. This easy hard experience that increasingly has you know that hard isn't wrong. It's not something to move away from or avoid. Hard work, being challenged, that's a part of life. That's part of our growth. It's amazing. If it doesn't feel like that, that is exactly what I help you with. So thanks for watching. Click subscribe if you're not already. Click that bell for notifications so you know when I've shared something new. And I look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care.